Welcome to a new podcast where we're breaking through and breaking it down with a new girl. Your host, Dawn Piercy. Welcome to a new podcast. My name is Dawn Piercy and I am your host. If you love Broadway and you have a passion for theater and you can't get out, you're in the right place because this is going to change for you right now. I am bringing you Bonnie Comley. Now, she is a two-time Tony Award-winning producer, writer, and performer. She's also one of the founders of WWLC, which is a theater company, and she's straight from Broadway itself. Bonnie, it's great to have you on a new podcast. How are you doing? I hope all is well.
I am great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And now I know, you have also won an Oliver Award and 2 Drama Desk Awards for your stage productions. First of all, congratulations. Big congratulations. And can you tell us a little about these awards and your background, how you got started in theater, producing, and what you do that's led you to where you are today?
Okay. Well, the awards are fabulous, and we always sort of shorthand everybody with like, oh, these are the awards that you won. But if you add up all the stuff that didn't work, we'd be here like forever talking about all the things that failed. But I produced about 24 shows on Broadway. I've produced off-Broadway. I've acted off-Broadway and on TV. So with my Broadway shows, I was lucky enough to win Tony Awards, which is the sort of the Academy Award for theater, commercial theater in New York City. And I've also won an Olivier, which is the highest award that you can receive in the UK for theater. The drama desks, and there's other awards there for producing live stage shows, which, as I said, I'm very proud of. I have been fortunate enough to be able to sort of do all sorts of jobs all the way across live theater. Mm-hmm. And so I can shorthand to talk to people about what it is that we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. But a lot of the producing part, which I do, is really just supporting the other team players and helping to assemble a team to bring a show to an audience. So that's exciting. My background is my undergraduate degree is in business. My graduate degree is in TV and film production and broadcast journalism. So how I sort of came to where I am today is I sort of married the theater and the business to TV and film. And so the company that I launched with my husband, Stuart Lane, actually this October will be our 4th anniversary. So we founded a company called Broadway HD. And Broadway HD is a platform to bring theater, live theater streaming on the internet. So we are bringing down the barriers of access around the globe. So anywhere that you can connect to the internet, you can stream a Broadway show. And BroadwayHD.com has over 300 full-length stage plays and musicals that are available for streaming. So it's $99.99 a year, which gives you on-demand access to everything that's there. Mm-hmm. Someone recently said to me, well, $99 a year, that's kind of expensive. But if you compare that to the price of a Broadway ticket, the average price of a Broadway ticket right now for a musical is $125. Oh, yeah. So that's if you go by yourself.
That's like $8.99 a month. That's like $8.99 a month. And that's less than Netflix. It's less than Amazon. It's less than Hulu. It's a heck of a lot less than cable and even more entertaining. So I'm all for that.
Yes. Yay!
Right.
And what we're doing is we've aggregated all this similar content. So it's all these stage to screen shows. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really look like a movie. You're not in the theater, obviously, if you're watching it on your Apple TV. So it's trying to give the feeling, that sort of authentic, you're in the theater feeling. So a lot of times you'll see that, the beginning of the shows will start with people as they're sort of walking into the theater. You might see ushers, you'll see, the cameras sometimes in the theater. So it really gives the feeling of being there.
Right.
Interesting is that when people watch it together, so if they were going to watch it together like they were doing the equivalent of a movie night, is that especially for the musicals, people end up applauding at the end, which, so their reactions are very similar to if they were in the theater watching it live. So at the end of a song, everybody's like applauding in somebody's living room, which is really, I don't experience that for a movie. You just don't watch in that way. So it's a very different kind of entertainment, a very, kind. But for the people that either can't get to New York City, that can't get to where the big touring cities are for these shows, it's their access. We're bringing down those barriers of geography or economics, as I said, that, $100 basically gives you the 300 shows that we have, or any sort of physical limitations that people have. Sorry, there's my phone. Yes, I'm at home.
Landlines.
Hopefully somebody gets it besides me. I'm not the only one in this house.
Now, you've done a lot of charity work, including creating scholarship funds at Columbia University Business Graduate School. Wow. Okay, first off. And Boston University College of Fine Arts, the undergraduate school. And you... where a theater was actually named after you. Tell us a little bit about that, Bonnie. And is it something that you're still doing? And if it is, how do people access something like that? That's amazing.
Well, I grew up in, a very lovely middle-class family. But from very young, part of what our family values were to give back. So I taught, Sunday school, and we always gave to the church. We donated our time in certain things that were close to what we believed in. And so, with that, that's part of who you are. And as I became more successful, my give back was, turning around and helping other people, which I still do. So I mentor people. I mentor people that want to get into business. I mentor people that want to get into the theater. And so that has always been very important. And then as I was able to have, more financial success, I have been in a position that I can actually donate money as well.
Right.
So in addition to my time and my expertise, my many years of experience to help other people, I can also now donate and give back. So my first ones are the ones that really helped me. So you mentioned the University of Massachusetts at Lowell, which is where I went to undergraduate school, and it is a state school. It was an opportunity for me. If I didn't go there, I might not have ever been able to afford college anywhere else at the time that I went.
Right.
And so I felt it was very important. I stayed connected to them, and when this theater became sort of in need of renovations, I spoke to my husband, and we went in and we stepped up to say, we'll help with the renovations of this. And so when they finished the renovations, they renamed it after my husband and myself. And so that felt
very nice.
Did another one at Boston University, which is where my husband went to school. At Emerson College, which is where I went for my graduate school. So, and then we're very involved with the Actors Fund, which is the organization that is for anyone that's in show business that's in transition or crisis. And
really?
So it's I am so lucky to be able to be where I am, and you just see people that are working, they're doing 8 shows a week in the theater, and then if they're a dancer or some sort of performer and there's any sort of injury, or they kind of age out and they just can't make those 8 shows a week, it's really hard. And so some of them, they started when they were in elementary school. They started learning how to dance or learning how to sing, or, and so their entire life has been dedicated to this craft. And then when they get to a point where they just can't do it anymore, they don't have training for anything else. And so the Actors Fund can step in and help them to transition and say, even though you were, an actor for your entire career, you have other skill sets. So let's figure out what you are passionate about, or what you are, also strong in, that you maybe didn't know that you had those talents and those other gifts, and let's help you to transition. So those sorts of things are really close to me, because that could have been me. I could have been the one that didn't have the resources, and aged out, or that was injured. And I got lucky. I got really lucky. So it's my way of giving back to people. So that's
very nice.
Those are,
love it. Now, I want to ask you too, who and what has been your biggest inspiration in life?
Well, that's my parents. I mean, if I have to go outside of them, but I mentioned my parents before, but I am so fortunate to still have both of my parents. My parents did not have the opportunity to finish college. My dad did some college, but never finished. And my parents had 4 kids, got married very early, had 4 kids. And my dad was an elevator mechanic, and sort of looked at my mom after they had 4 kids and said, I think the union position and try and work in the office. So she supported him in that. And then after he worked in the office for a while, he said, I think I can start my own business. So with 4 kids, the 2 of them decided that they were going to, pursue the American dream. And so they did. And it was very bumpy for a while. But they achieved that. The sort of fun part of that is that they didn't achieve that till all 4 of our 4 of their kids were out of high school and out of college. So it wasn't until after we were out of college that they bought like a big house in town and like all of that. But because they were so young, they didn't feel it. So watching that, living through people that were entrepreneurial, that were very intelligent, but didn't have the opportunity for the education. That is my inspiration. So to see somebody that were risk takers, but taking calculated risks, so they never entirely risked the house, kind of thing, with 4 kids. But for the, and again, that is in their marriage too. They celebrated their 65th wedding anniversary last November. So all of those things are like huge, huge inspirations for me. And that's my own personal family. Another one outside of my direct family is Charlotte St. Martin, who is the president of the Broadway League.
Okay.
Charlotte has been there for, I think she's 16 years at the Broadway League, and she is amazing because she worked for about 25 years in the hotel and hospitality industry, and then was recruited to come over to Broadway. Okay. Now, what does Broadway and hotels and have in common? Who knows? But she has, in her 16 years, been able to be at the top. She is the absolute highest person within the Broadway commercial theater space in the United States.
That's awesome.
And she ranks the people in the UK. So having this amazing leader, because that's really where her strength is being a leader, because she wasn't an expert in theater, but she was an amazing leader. So she surrounded herself with the best people and gave them the resources to be able to lift the entire industry. And the Broadway League is the trade association for the producers, presenters, and theater owners all around the U.S., all of North America. It's a huge multi-billion-dollar industry. Last year we sold on Broadway, just for the New York City theaters, those 41 theaters in New York City, sold 15 million tickets, and that box office came in at just under $2 billion. So that is huge. So this one is the one that's at the top, and she is, guiding and leading everybody, and she's amazing. And because of her leadership, other women have risen to the top of other theater producing organizations around the country. And we know when women get to the top, they bring other women with them. So Charlotte, I believe, as being the pinnacle for the Broadway League, is like pulling other women in. And you can see it in the last probably 5 or 6 years, the number of women that have risen to the top of these theatrical organizations around the country is just, we're on a roll. We're on a roll. So I attribute that to Charlotte St. Martin. So she is a huge, I'm a big fan.
Now, the movies and the theatrical events that you've been in and have produced as well, including most recently the executive producer of Kinky Boots, the musical. I want to see that. The 42nd Street.
It's amazing.
The musical, and Live from the Lincoln Center, which is the TV series, and A Night with Janis Joplin, the film. Tell us about those films, and can we see those musicals on Broadway HD, and where can we see the TV series and the movie?
They're all of that stuff is available if you just go to www.broadwayhd.com.
Oh, okay.
Like,
great.
High definition. Broadway high definition is what it is. broadwayhd.com. You can sign up. You can get a free trial week, so you could go on and like watch as many as you can in one free week. But I think that, once you start watching Broadway and getting more engaged with live theater events, you'll want to continue with it, one, and two, it's going to increase people's appetite to go and see the live stage shows. Right. So Kinky Boots was it ran for 7 years on Broadway. It ran for, I think it was 5 years in the West End, which is the Broadway equivalent in England. And it won I think it was 5 Tony Awards, maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Olivier, which is the highest honor in England. It's an amazing cast. It's a beautiful capture, and it's a beautiful story. So it's Cyndi Lauper's music for the Cyndi Lauper out there. Yeah. Another one that you mentioned was Janis Joplin. So we had Mary Bridget Davies, who is the Tony Award nominee for playing and portraying Janis Joplin. And she's magical. I mean, she just is Janis Joplin. If you look and listen, it's for those of us who would have remembered or anything that you've seen of Janis Joplin, or if you've heard her music, it is a spot on, amazing. I hate to say just like a impersonation, but because she brings more to it, it's much more of a dramatic theatrical role. But she was Tony nominated for this, and it's beautiful. The Live from Lincoln Center concert series that we did with our partners at Lincoln Center, who have been amazing partners, because they have a whole complex of theaters in Lincoln Center, which is on the Upper West Side of New York City, and they have done these concerts with Sutton Foster, Stephanie J. Block, so Sutton is a two-time Tony Award winner. Stephanie J. Block just won a Tony Award this year. We have a concert with Andrew Reynolds, and I'm missing somebody there, and I'm going to be so sorry that I can't remember who the other one is. So and we're actually looking into getting, working with Lincoln Center some more for those.
Okay, nice.
One of the other shows that we did with Lincoln Center is called Pipeline.
Okay.
And
okay.
We're very proud of that. It is by Dominique Morceau, who is nominated for a Tony Award for her show on Broadway. She wrote the book to the musical Ain't Too Proud, which is currently running on Broadway.
Okay.
This beautiful, beautiful play that sometimes sometimes shows just don't last long enough, and I think that's the thing that we can do with Broadway HD is that we're extending the life of these shows, because sometimes the New York audience, it's so expensive to do shows in New York City that it just ends before everybody gets to see it.
Right.
These beautiful digital captures, we call going in and videotaping it in the theater. You extend the life, and you can bring it to people around the world, which is really important with diversity and inclusion, which is one of our initiatives at Broadway HD, because there's not that many women that make it to Broadway. That, you know, we're working to try and correct that. But women directors, we don't have a lot of them that actually make it. So at Broadway HD, we're really looking for, like, where are the women? Where are the people of color that we can put them to the rest of the world?
Right.
As we now try and transition from some of our, you know, revivals and some things that were, you know, like these dated sort of pieces that has like great music or you know, were amazing productions at one time. Now we're looking at it with a different lens. In modern day, when we look at these revivals, you know, some of them, they're, you know, with the stereotypes that they're just, you know, that you want to get rid of, with the, you know, the sort of the gender things that we need to correct, with the political incorrectness of these things. We really are trying to, you know, address that, and how do we preserve these pieces that were classic pieces or that have amazing music, but keep them for today, and sort of present them and say, okay, maybe there's like a, I want to say a disclaimer, but maybe there's sort of a director's note or some sort of message that accompanies it and says, this is what it was, and this is the time that it was done, and this is why it's still important to have a record of it and still appreciate. But let's look at it with, you know, more modern, more politically correct, more inclusive sort of eyes and ears.
Right. Now, do you have anything that you're working on behind the scenes that you can fill us in on? I know you can't fill us in on everything, of course.
The scoop.
Give us the scoop, Bonnie. You know you want to.
I mean, you know, if you're looking for like the scoop, anybody can sign up, you know, just absolutely no cost. You can go on to BroadwayHD.com, sign up for our newsletter, which will tell you what's coming up.
Okay, cool.
Because we, you know, every single month we add new content to our platform. And so I'm trying to think of something that's new that's coming up that I can actually announce at this time. I think all right, so I'm going to try and go there. But there was this amazing show on Broadway called Smokey Joe's Cafe, and we're actually going to be getting that. It was available on DVD for a while, and it was never, as far as I know, it wasn't streaming. And so that's one that we're going to have coming up. And that one is just this really, it's really like a great, fun Broadway show. Musical. So I'm very proud of that one. I'm trying to think of what else is coming up. Well, you know, one of the other things that I wanted to mention with like the classical or the original productions of something and then revivals, which I think that, you know, is a place where Broadway HD can stand strong, is presenting our digital captures, our videos of some of the more traditional presentations and stagings of shows, and then look at the revivals that are coming out. So we have this really beautiful production of Oklahoma with Hugh Jackman, and he's amazing. He's just so great. But there was or there is, I should say, a Tony Award-winning revival that's currently on Broadway, and it's without changing the script, without changing anything really except for the staging. They did a very, very different, some people are calling radical, reinterpretation of Oklahoma. And so it's, you know, it's nice to like, hey, let's look at what the classical presentation is, and then let's, you know, then go and see the new one, because then that new one is coming around to tour. There is some other, you know, shows that we have that I think are Cats. We actually have Cats with the original, you know, with some of the original West End. I know it's really fun.
I have the VHS of Cats on Broadway.
Up there. Yes. So the tour. So watch Cats, because we have Elaine Page on there, and she is the one. She's the one to see. So yeah, exactly. Cats. You can see it by the logo with the big eyes, the big yellow eyes.
Right.
You'll see it right away as you're scrolling through our catalog. So That's another one, and it's out on tour. So see like that version. Go see the tour. The movie's coming out in December, I think it is. So there's different ways of experiencing the same story, but in different presentations. And I think that gives people a deeper understanding of a story and a different, right. It's just different experiences. So even with like Kinky Boots, that it closed on Broadway. So for all those people that saw it, here's your chance to see it again, to right. like relive it again. It was a beautiful show. So here's your chance to live it over again.
Now, if you had one thing that you could say to the world, Bonnie, what would it be?
Be nice. Is that if you can be anything, be nice. I'm a big fan of that. So that's my thing. Take care of each other and be nice.
And where can our audience follow you to keep up with everything that you've got going on?
I think probably the easiest is to just go to BroadwayHD.com. Okay. And then we have Broadway HD has Facebook page. You can find out what we're doing there. So I think that's probably the easiest. You can sign up for the newsletter at the very least, because if you check out our site, try it for a week. If you're like, okay, let me wait for this other show to come along, just keep watching that newsletter and we'll tell you when and what we're going to get next.
Okay. Now for our listeners, those that are not on our platform on anewpodcast.com, I have made a bio page for Bonnie. If you go to anewpodcast.com, click her feature photo above her interview on the main page, it will take you directly to her bio page where I have provided all of the links there for you to make it easy. Now, Bonnie, I want to thank you so much for coming on and being a new guest this evening. It's been awesome having you on, and I love what you've done with the Broadway HD, being able to bring it into people's homes. And there's so many people that just can't get out or don't have Broadway where they live, and now they can, thanks to you. And that's awesome. That is so awesome. For our audience, if you like this episode, be sure to click like, comment, subscribe so you can keep up with all the new guests. Share this episode so other people can enjoy it. And if you feel fit to buy me a cup of coffee once a month for bringing you these episodes, you can at our Anchor.fm platform under a new podcast. This podcast is available on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and I think most streaming platforms. And also Celebre Media VIP LLC. And just check out the TV shows there, and we are on the list. Until next time, this is Dawn Piercy and Bonnie Comley signing off. Keep it real.